Hello. Today I'm going to make a video about bottle 27. This is the red-green combination in equilibrium, and it's, as I said, number 27, 27. Here's the bottle. Now, I have been looking at that book, Vicky Wall's, Mike Booth's inspirational notes about the bottles, but I'm going to tell you a story today about 27. It's not my story, it's Vicky Wall's story. Vicky Wall was the creator of Orosoma. I think in some ways she was like a midwife because she received and brought it into this world. Maybe that's a better way to describe her, but she was the founder of the system. She's a very intuitive person, and she, in a way, related, I think, as far as I could see, related to the colors very intuitively. So in the early days of Orosoma, when I first went along to do some courses, some trainings, they still lived in the original house where Equilibrium Orosoma was born. And there was a tree in the garden. I didn't see this, but I heard it several times on courses that I attended. It was a fruit tree. It was a fruit tree in the garden, and it wasn't very healthy. For some reason, it was not looking very healthy that year. And Vicky Wall intuitively put the red-green combination, 27, at the base of the tree. And the story is that summer, the tree had more fruit. It found its energy again, and that summer it had more fruit than it had had for many years previously. So it was like a big win for the red-green bottle. And I always found that pretty interesting. And because in a way it was hard to explain. If I show you the 28 bottle, green over red, you could say that that's more of a healthy tree. You've got the green of the leaves above, and you've got the red, the roots, and the earth below. In a way, that's more of a natural tree combination, I would say. So why would red-green be the one that she chose and placed at the foot of the tree and had such a good result? That was in a way like a question, you see. So I'm going to answer that in a roundabout way. And the first step I'm going to take is to think about the number on the inside of the 27, 27. So the seven's on the inside, in the way that I look at it. And if we think about number 7 bottle, it's yellow-green. Now, Vicky Wall had a name for this bottle too, or another intuitive description, let's say, which was that this was a crossroads bottle. She used to use the example of Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane, where there was a choice, a crossroads in the life of Jesus, whether to escape from the soldiers or whether to go with the soldiers. So that was a crossroads, a moment of decision in the life of Jesus. And so she saw this yellow-green combination in a general way as a crossroads bottle. It's almost like when the yellow of the individual comes to a certain point on the path, on the green path of life, and you have a choice to make. And in fact, if you think about 27, you can say that you've got that 7 on the inside. The importance of making a decision about a choice, which is 2. 2 is a choice, this or that, and 7 is the one who faces the choice. In fact, if I show you the tarot card that goes with number 7, here also is someone in front of a choice, you could say. So you have this idea of making a choice with the 27, a choice being offered to one who has to make a decision with 27. And then also, before I come back to the tree, I'm going to mention something else about 27, which is that it's the name of the bottle in equilibrium, in Orosoma system, is Robin Hood. It's the Robin Hood bottle. Now, Robin Hood is a character from English history, somewhat mythical or legendary, but it does seem that there was a Robin back in the medieval times. He'd been away with the king to the Crusades in the Holy Land. This is a good king, inverted commas, Richard the Lionheart. And Robin came back first and found that in the meantime, a bad king had come to the throne and he was oppressing the people, and the people were poor and not happy. And so Robin Hood then became famous because he did something about that. He decided to try and balance things out and went into the woods and kind of stole from the rich to give to the poor. That's the story. Here's my point. My point is that it would have been easier for Robin Hood to have done nothing. In a way, he came back, he found a difficult situation, but what he chose to do at that crossroads put him into danger by by going against the bad king. He became a target. So it wasn't the easy choice. If you think about green is a kind of go with the flow color. Green is just going with the flow. It's finding the way. Red, which is the opposite color of green, complementary color-wise, red opposite to green, is the opposite of going with the flow. Red is about making a stand. It's almost like you have to take some courage or take some energy. You have to, you can imagine if you're faced with that situation, you've got something in front of you, one way which includes danger, but you feel it's the right way. That's not a decision you take lightly. That's a decision that requires some force within yourself, because the easy thing is to do nothing. The easy thing is to go with the flow. So it's interesting. You see that Robin Hood, when he came back, in a way, he had a choice to make as well. Do nothing or do something. Do nothing or take courage into his own hands to do something. So now we come back to the tree in Vicky Wall's story. And this is my speculation, but if the tree is not so healthy, then in a way you have a choice, don't you? You either continue to decline and ultimately death, or you find a renewed energy for life. And so my thinking is that although this green-red is the natural color choice for a healthy tree, green leaves, red in the earth, the roots in the earth, green leaves opening above, this is the moment of choice where you have to take some energy to push something to be created again. So that's my thought about 27. I'll just review it for you very briefly. So it starts off with the story of Vicky Wall's tree and how this red-green combination gave renewed energy to that tree to, in fact, be more successful than it had been in previous years. And how within the number of 27, you've got that question of a decision to be made with the 7 in the face of a choice too. So the 7 looking at the 2. And then we have the example of Robin Hood, who came back to England at a certain time in English history. And there was a personal choice for him to make, which was whether to go with the flow and do nothing, or to take courage and do something, gather his energy to do something. I think maybe gathering your energy is a good idea for this red in the top fraction of 27. And in a way, then that brings us back to a kind of an understanding of how that red-green, although it doesn't look like a typical tree supporting expression of a healthy tree because the red's over the green, nevertheless, it's that moment when you need to bring some energy up to push through and make a new start. So that's my thought on 27. Of course, there are many interpretations for 27, and I'm just simply offering one thought for you and like connecting it with the language of color and a couple of other things as well, like number. So I have one more bottle to do in this sequence. It'll be bottle 32, and I shall do that in the right time. Until then.